But treatment was such a confidence building, inspirational thing for me. And one of the most profound things that happened to me, and I hold on to this all the time, is there was a guy that came into treatment. He never drank until he was like 40 years old. Right? He didn't start drinking until he was way old enough past drinking age. And he was a Mexican guy. He came from Mexico. He got his citizenship, and he was a sheep herder. He was a railroad worker. And he worked on the railroad until he retired, but he didn't start drinking until he was 40, right? He started drinking and his alcoholism took off. Completely fucking took off. And for the next 24 years, he drank. And when he came in, he was like probably weighed 105 pounds, just really sucked up. His eyes were yellow. His liver was shutting down. And he was one of the people that came in due to a possible life-threatening issue, right? And I remember sitting down in group, and I was sitting straight across from him. I was looking at him, and we'll call him Max. And I was looking at Max, and I was looking at the desperation in his eyes, and I was looking at the pain. And I was probably 2.5 months into treatment at that time, so I'd been there for a minute, and I was just looking at the despair in him, and the shame, and everything that comes along with untreated alcoholism when you can't quit. And he was 64 years old. And I was sitting straight across from him. I was 24 years old. And there was a 40-year difference, and we were sitting in the same fucking place for the same fucking problem.
Right.
And it really resonated with me that this is never going to change. I will always have this fucking disease, and I will never be able to use successfully. I stayed sober for 3 years after I got out of treatment. And once I relapsed, it took me years. It took me like 6 or 7 years to get back. And by the time I got back this time, everything that I had learned in treatment that I can remember, the important stuff stayed with me that entire time. But this time I was ready to do the necessary work to maintain long-term sobriety. All the stuff that everybody had tried to tell me would work before I was finally ready for, kind of like what you were talking about.
Yeah.